500 years ago, these shores received their first European visitors. The Portuguese who arrived created the modern state of Brazil, promoted today for its music, dance, football, beach life. But this image hides a less appealing past. For Brazil was built on the back of the largest forced migration in history. North America is well known for its slave-owning past, but this South American country received 10 times as many, 4 million Africans. Why did Brazil become the world's largest slave-owning country? Why does it rank among the cruelest regimes of the past few centuries? Why is it a story that some still prefer not to tell?
Slavery is an inconvenient history for the Brazilian elite. There is no doubt about that. And they don't want this issue to be discussed.
A man went around with a hot iron and branded us the same as they would the heads of barrels or any other inanimate goods or merchandise. Gardo Bakaka, African slave.
Almost every house in this place is a large warehouse where the slaves are deposited and customers go to purchase. When one was ordered, he came forward, threw his arms over his head, stamped with his feet, shouted to show the soundness of his lungs, ran up and down the room and was treated exactly like a horse. And when done, he was whipped to his stall. Walsh, Traveller.
Slaves are the hands and the feet of the sugar mill owner, because without them, it is not possible in Brazil to set up, maintain, and develop a plantation, nor to have a functioning mill. Antonil, Jesuit priest. Whippings for 9 successive days are an ordinary form of punishment. The accused receives 200 or 300 lashes. The mangled flesh is then cut and pepper and salt applied to the wounds. The tourniquet, hand and neck stocks, thumb screws, manacles, irons, pillories, and many other instruments of punishment are common on our plantations. In some provinces, slaves are exposed for a whole night, tied to a stake over an ant's nest. Burlamac, abolitionist.
People say that the Baron of Cajaíba, who owned the Cajaíba mill near Santo Amaro, was a very mean master, a terrible master. He killed the slaves and was well known for being evil. One day, someone came to visit him and told him how attractive a female slave's breasts were. To please the visitor, as he was leaving, the Baron handed him the slave's breasts on a tray.
True that this was the final Emancipation Act, but of course even after that those who had formerly been slaves owned nothing, were given no compensation and so on, and so were forced to remain on the land or to exist in other ways. In other words, although they were legally free, they were still bound economically to the land, to the mines or the other occupations they were forced to undertake.
The blacks are the ones in prisons, living in the slums, not having jobs. Nowadays, they're not slaves belonging to one master. They are slaves of the system. The executioner has changed. It's much more sophisticated. The whip is almost invisible, but it is still felt.
No country imported more slaves than Brazil. Even today, the majority of black people throughout the Americas speak Portuguese. Following abolition, there was a deliberate policy to draw in white settlers, Italians, Germans, Spaniards. But almost half of today's 170 million population remains non-white.